Hi, I'm Leonard Chung, and I'm super excited to be joined by my good colleague, Aaron Odin. Thanks for being here, and welcome to the WebEx events track. This is the first session, and I'm so glad you could join us today as we talk about the future of events. We're all familiar with how the future of work is hybrid. The pandemic drove home just how work is centered around the work you do, not where you do it. And just as the world is moving to hybrid work platforms, we know that events are moving to hybrid event platforms. Hybrid events include both virtual and in-person attendees joining a single experience. They require both virtual and in-person capabilities. There aren't a lot of companies that can deliver the capabilities required for a true hybrid event. WebEx is unmatched in the industry with end-to-end in-person and virtual capability, by which we mean software, services, and also fantastic WebEx hardware devices, all under one roof. And while hybrid events are great, we also know virtual and in-person events are here to stay. This is why we've built a hybrid event platform, one that is able to host hybrid events and in-person events and virtual events. By supporting multiple types of events on a single stack, you can deliver your vision and message in the way that works best for each event without the complexity and cost of managing dedicated in-person and virtual event platforms. The ability to support multiple event types is especially important when looking across event experiences that attendees engage with over time. From flagship events to webinars to a persistent online community, attendee engagement spans many points throughout the course of a single year. Often, individual events are powered by disjoint tech from different vendors. The combined solution is hard to integrate and manage. It makes it hard to predict costs and show ROI, to retain flexibility given uncertainty, and to create a unified and seamless experience for attendees. In a hybrid world, this model just doesn't work. Because of this, we've completely reimagined the world of events. I couldn't be prouder to introduce you to the result, the new WebEx Events portfolio. We've expanded the events portfolio with native support for any size and any type of event. We've taken our original WebEx Events product and are renaming it WebEx Webinar. We've also acquired Socio, a leading hybrid event and continuous engagement platform designed to power the future of events. In addition, we've added end-to-end event management through continuous engagement to tie events together and to follow the attendee on their entire engagement journey. Finally, as the only vendor with hardware, software, and services under one roof, we've eliminated integration headaches to deliver predictability, flexibility, and measurable ROI. WebEx now delivers the most comprehensive technology stack in the industry. WebEx can power events of any complexity and of any type. Gone are the days of being forced to use and integrate many event solutions built by different vendors to power events across the large and the small, the simple and the complex, the in-person, the virtual, and the hybrid. All types of events can now be brought together into a single proven solution by a single vendor, so you can skip the stress, the headaches, and the vendor's finger pointing, and instead spend your time imagining, creating, and delivering awesome experiences. In fact, WebexOne is run entirely on the WebEx Events portfolio. We collaborated via WebEx meetings. This virtual experience is powered by Socio, and our follow-up webinar series is hosted in WebEx Webinar. And what if the value of an event didn't have to end once the last speaker wrapped up? We could focus on the journey of each individual attendee across all the events rather than just a single event. WebEx can tie together different event types on a common platform to follow the attendee across their engagement journey. With the attendee at the center, you can continually engage with audience members across time, across space, across devices, and across events. We call this continuous engagement. We can't wait for you to use the new WebEx Events portfolio. And I'm especially excited to announce that WebEx Events will be included at no additional charge for our customers with WebEx Suite Enterprise agreements. This makes the WebEx Suite even more powerful and more valuable. If you aren't a WebEx Suite subscriber, not a problem. Individual WebEx Events products are also available to be purchased separately. The WebEx Events portfolio allows organizations to adapt to the changing event landscape. I'd like to toss it over to both Erin as well as Arianna Black, one of our customers from Women in Product, to talk about the impact events and a hybrid event platform have had within her organization. Erin, Arianna, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks a lot, Leonard. Hey, Arianna, thanks so much for joining us today at WebexOne.
Hey, Erin, it's my pleasure.
Could you tell us a little bit about Women in Product?
Women in Product, first and foremost, is a community. We're a community 30,000 women product managers strong. And as an organization, we run a variety of initiatives to support that community. But what we do compared to what they do is so small. It is largely peer-to-peer support. And we put on an annual conference to bring all of these women together. And now we do virtual conferences.
Excellent. That's pretty exciting. When you do these events, in your experience, what do you see as the vision of the future of events moving forward?
I'm excited for a day in events where we're no longer talking about the event as a single happening, but we're really talking about an events program. So I've really tried to move away from using the word conference and thinking of it more as a conference events program, and really thinking about engaging with the attendee from wherever to wherever in as many ways as possible.
I like that, wherever to wherever. What inspired you to start hosting events like this?
I fell into events and fell in love with events. And like most event people, I have a very conflicted relationship with them because they can be so magic, but they also involve such an incredible amount of staying on top of the game. And I believe that events are where ideas really happen and where people connect to both ideas when they're in their most raw form and also to one another. And being able to facilitate that in whatever way I can is how I feel my career has sort of unfolded. And as an organization, we've really looked at how many ways can we connect our community to each other and to resources that can help them do their jobs better. And events are a big part of that.
When you host these events, what do you feel are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered?
Finding the ability to bring the right folks to each other at the right time. Synchronous time is so precious. And so what we've really looked at in the last year is what elements of our events need to happen in synchronous time and which can be a more distributed part of the experience. And letting people understand how to interact with an event has been the biggest challenge in the last year, because we had to create and define what the virtual experience was, and then we had to educate people as to how to make the most of it. People are very familiar with showing up at an event and then letting the event happen and being guided down the hallway. And we had to teach people how to engage where the digital hallways were and really help them understand how to navigate in an entirely new space. So communicating how to get the most out of the event has been my biggest challenge.
With the pandemic, obviously a lot of changes have happened globally. How have you adapted to that when hosting some of these programs?
Everything changed for us. We were an on-site conference, and my biggest concern before was not exceeding my ballroom capacity. Before, it was a problem of, do I have too many humans in this space, and fire marshals, and the logistics were very, very different. And today we're looking at an infinite number of possible rooms, but that also can risk becoming too noisy, and it can also become overwhelming and not engaging because there isn't always a clearly defined attendee path. So moving forward, we're really looking at how to hybridize an experience that has both on-site and online components in a way that has clear attendee paths so that people feel that the space is held and that they're guided through it.
You know, I've had the fortunate opportunity to speak with you previously, and during one of our previous conversations, you'd mentioned the attendee engagement arc. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what that is?
The way that I think about the attendee engagement arc is from the moment that you hear about the event until the after the event experience, how I'm carrying you as a planner through that experience. So from point of first hearing about the event to registration and ticketing, and then planning my agenda, deciding how to show up, deciding what's important for me as an attendee there through the entire event experience, and then with the follow-up, with the continued connectivity to other folks that I met there, or maybe rewatching content. I see it as the entire arc of what I experience as an attendee out of the event. And that's how I'm thinking about carrying folks through this path. And that's where a very seamless technology platform becomes particularly important, because as the attendee, they're not thinking about all of these digital places that I'm thinking about. Right. So I need to feel as comprehensive as possible and as intuitive as possible for them. Because I have learned that as much as I would like everyone to read my very informative emails and be prepared to show up to the event, I have to anticipate that folks will find their login 5 minutes before, and I need them to still feel like they have the time and space to really get the most out of the experience.
That's really insightful. I really appreciate that. And that's something I've really seen a lot of in working with you. So I really appreciate that. When you're looking at these and leveraging the technology to host these events, what is it that you're looking for specifically, not just in a technology, but in a technology partner as well?
Flexibility and handholding. I do not have a computer science degree. I feel that I gave myself one on YouTube in the last year and a half. And having teams behind products that are there to answer my questions, to help me figure out a solution if the solution doesn't exist, and to essentially help me build the team that my very small internal team doesn't have. So our technology partners have been really important in bringing on skills that we don't hold internally as an organization.
As you move forward and host these programs and host these events, do you see yourself focusing on trying to drive towards more in-person, more virtual, hybrid, or a combination of all of those? How do you see that moving forward?
One of the best things over the last year has been being able to increase the access to the event. For both speakers, we've been able to give speakers the opportunity who don't come from companies who would have been able to ship them to San Francisco for a studio experience. We've also seen attendees be able to come and attend with their child on their lap or caring for someone in another room. It's been incredible how much this has opened a new experience. So I'm not thinking about reverting to what we used to do. And I'm also not thinking about just continuing an all online experience, but I'm really thinking about how do we bring a better experience moving forward that can have more inclusivity and it affords more points of access so that we can really meet people where they're at. Not everyone is going to be able to set aside 3 days for a conference, but if we can create learning opportunities and opportunities to connect with sponsors and to connect with content and with each other that are more flexible and a little bit more choose your own adventure, then I think we're going to be winning moving forward.
Do you have any advice or learnings to share with our audience that you've gathered over the last year in doing these events the way that you have?
When the pandemic first hit, we were overly focused on how to recreate the conference experience as we knew it. And shedding some of that and opening up to this entirely new experience that we could create is what really enabled us to thrive in the virtual format. So I think it's really important that event planners and that folks that are thinking about content delivery and engagement in general aren't boxing themselves into what can happen in a virtual setting and what can happen on site, but really asking about each element. Is there more value to my attendees if this happens on site? Or is there more value if this happens online? Or maybe these are different experiences and they're equally valuable for different attendees. So I think really not strapping ourselves to thinking about one way or the other way, but building an entirely different experience moving forward.
Arianna, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your vision of the future of events and what you've learned. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Aaron. It's my pleasure.
That's the perfect segue into talking about how we at Cisco are reimagining events. Webex has been doubling down on investments on our existing portfolio and platform, as well as adding new tools to help address our customers' growing needs. Webex Webinars includes the capability to expand, scale, and reach, the ability to organize professional events with stage layouts and lobby waiting rooms for participants, and creating meaningful connections with audience engagement, with polling and Q&As, and the ability to personalize your event with branding and curated attendee registration. Some of our recent innovations include such features as scaling up to 100,000 attendees, simultaneous interpretation, allowing for attendees to choose the language they want to hear in their live audio channel, high frame rate share, which allows for easy sharing of audio and video to all of attendees within the event, and immersive sharing, allowing the presenter to be the focus of the presentation. We also allow for breakouts, which allows for the focus to really stay relevant to topics, and a lot more. Together, WebEx and Socio have created the best hybrid events platform in the industry and foster continuous engagement across events so you can host the best events which deliver the results you need. Yarkin and Ian from Socio team will be hosting the next session. There's a lot that Socio does, and I encourage you to join their session if you're interested in learning more. With that, I'll hand it back over to Leonard to wrap things up.
Thanks, Aaron, and thank you, Arianna. We're so excited about the work that Women in Product is doing. We know that as events professionals, you need to bring compelling visions and experiences to life and to deliver them to the largest audience possible, all while ensuring these events stay on time, under budget, and deliver on the ROI the business needs. And of course, ensuring it all goes off without a hitch, under tight deadlines, and all the pressure. With WebEx Events, you can deliver amazing events, predictably, reliably, and flexibly, all with measurable ROI. And all of these events benefit from the innovation, security, and scale of WebEx. To learn more, please visit the URL on screen, as well as the other amazing event track sessions. The future of events is on WebEx. We can't wait to see what you host. Thank you for attending.